All right, let's talk about something that's probably happened to you or someone you know. You get a check, you're all set, and then it bounces. It is so frustrating, right? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what the law says about dishonored checks and, more importantly, what you can actually do about it. Let's dive right in.
So, there you are. You've got this check, you pop it in the bank, and a few days later, you get that dreaded message, dishonored. It's a huge headache, but here's the good news. You've got some pretty powerful legal options on your side. The real key is knowing what to do next and when to do it.
And believe me, this is not some rare problem. Get this. Cases about bounce checks make up the majority of all the cases currently pending in Indian courts. I mean, that is a wild statistic. It just goes to show you that understanding how this all works isn't just for lawyers, it's essential for pretty much everyone.
So, where do the rules for all this come from? Well, it all boils down to one specific law, the Negotiable Instruments Act. And yeah, you saw that right, it's from 1881. It's an old school law, but it is absolutely the rule book for the stuff. And inside that act, there is one section that is the real heavy hitter.
Okay, first things first, let's get on the same page with the lingo. A dishonor of check is just the official term for when a bank won't pay out on a check you've deposited. The number one reason, of course, is insufficient funds. The classic, there's no money in the account. But whatever the reason, this is the moment that gets the legal ball rolling.
And here it is. This is the number you absolutely have to remember, 138. Section 138 of that old act is what turns a simple bounced check, which is really a civil issue, into a potential criminal offense. This single section is what gives the law all of its teeth. So how does this actually happen? How does a bounced check become a criminal case? Well, think of it like a recipe with 5 essential ingredients. You need all 5 for it to work. First, obviously, a check was issued. Second, you presented it to the bank. Third, the bank returned it unpaid. Fourth, and this is crucial, you sent a formal legal notice. And fifth, if the other person still doesn't pay up within 15 days of getting that notice, boom, you've just met all the criteria for a criminal offense under Section 138. Now, what's really fascinating is that you've got 2 different roads you can go down here. The criminal case, using Section 138, is all about punishing the person who wrote the bad check. We're talking potential jail time, a big fine, or even both. On the other hand, you can file a civil suit, which is purely about one thing, recovering your money. And get this, you can actually pursue both paths at the very same time. Okay, let's get practical. You're the one holding that bounce check. What do? Here's your step-by-step game plan. But you have to pay very close attention, because there's one thing that's working against you. The clock is ticking, and it starts ticking fast. Listen, these deadlines are not flexible. They are set in stone. A check is only even valid for 3 months. After it bounces, you have just 30 days, 1 month, to send that legal notice. The person who wrote it then gets a 15-day window to make things right. If they don't, your chance to file a complaint in court is only open for 1 more month after that. If you miss any of these deadlines, your case under Section 138 could be over before it even starts. Now let's flip the script for a second. What if you're on the other side of this? You're the one who wrote the check, and now you've got this scary-looking legal notice. Okay, deep breath. It's serious for sure, but you are not out of options. You've basically arrived at a legal crossroads. Look, the most straightforward option is pretty simple. Just pay the money within that 15-day window. If you do that, the problem goes away. But let's say you can't. You can also try to settle the matter directly with the other person. The law actually encourages this because a Section 138 offense is what's called compoundable. So what on earth does compoundable mean? It's really just a fancy legal term that means the case can be settled privately between the two of you. If you can reach an agreement, maybe a payment plan, maybe a smaller amount, the other person can literally just withdraw the case from court. It's a built-in off-ramp to avoid a full-blown trial. You know, to really get why this law is such a big deal, it helps to zoom out and look at the history. That Negotiable Instruments Act might be from 1881, but the idea of credit and the challenge of making sure people pay up is a story that's centuries old in India. Way before modern banks or even the British showed up, commerce in India was buzzing, and it was powered by these really clever credit instruments, most famously the hundi. Think of them as the original bill of exchange. They were the engine of trade, allowing merchants to do business across vast distances based on trust and a piece of paper. And check this out. This shows you just how sophisticated these old systems were. A government report from 1971 actually said that some of the traditional rules for hundies gave people better and more flexible options than the modern law that replaced them. It's an amazing reminder that this isn't a new problem, it's a very old one.
So that whole long history really boils down to one simple, timeless challenge. How do you enforce a promise to pay? Section 13.8 is just today's answer to that age-old question. So let's bring it all home and focus on the key things you need to remember to protect yourself in today's system. So let's boil it all down. What do you absolutely need to remember? Number 1, deadlines, deadlines, deadlines. Know them. Number 2, always send a formal written notice. Number 3, please never ever give someone a signed blank check. It's just asking for trouble. Fourth, remember that settling is always an option for both sides. And finally, if you're struggling, know that free legal aid might be available. And that brings us to a final thought. All these laws we've been talking about were designed for a world of paper and ink. But we're living in an age of UPI and instant digital payments. So as we move forward, the real question is, how do we build and enforce trust and credit in this new digital world? What does the future look like for the simple promise to pay?